Well, hi, everybody. Welcome in once again to another Inside the Lions Den right here on the YouTube page for the Queen Sports Network. As always, I'm Mike Glennon, and today we are joined by a special guest, and that is Logan Witt, who is not just a former women's volleyball player here graduating this past May, but she's also just awarded the South Atlantic Conference 2021 Woman of the Year. And first off, congratulations, Logan, and again, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And, I just brought it up. You were named the South Atlantic Conference Woman of the Year, and that's not something that's given out lightly. What does something like that mean to you, especially as you see your career come to an end? And we'll talk about your career achievements here coming up. But, what does something like this mean to you?
Oh, I can't even begin to describe what this means to me, especially, everything that happened with COVID in the past year and a half. This is the greatest wrap up to my career in volleyball that I could have imagined. I remember we were doing a scrimmage when we got told that we were going to get sent home, and I didn't even know if I'd ever have the chance to play again. So to have that chance and then to be here and getting this award, it's just phenomenal.
Well, you guys had a wonderful spring, of course, on the court, but then, you look at what you did off the court. And of course, the biggest thing about a student athlete is, of course, that first part being a student. And you set a prime example for that. A 4.0 GPA in majoring in health science, a concentration in bioscience, if I'm correct, and you minored in mathematics. And man, I can't even imagine what your workload looked like, but, what is it about being a student to you? Why did you commit so much to being that student, and what interests you about that field?
Well, I think first and foremost, being a student athlete, student comes first. It's why it's first in the word.
Sure.
So I definitely put that in the front of everything that I did, because I knew that I loved volleyball, but I also knew that it was temporary and that going forward in my life, academics was going to really be the driving force behind everything that I did.
Sure.
And then in regard to health sciences, I am interested in going pre-med, and so I felt like that was a really strong base in order to get me to where I want to go. So.
Sure. Well, obviously we just talked about it before we came on the air here. You're studying for the MCATs right now, and I know that is a heck of a workload. So you thought you might be done with school, but not just yet. What is that studying experience like?
Oh, it's nothing like I've ever done before. That's you hear people tell you that, but you don't really realize until you're in it what it's like. So I'm, full-time studying, literally full-time, like a full-time job, more than I've ever worked. So it's new.
Hey, it's something that you want to do at least. So I know it's a lot of studying, but the end result, of course, will be a good thing. Looking at your academic career, we talked about, of course, the SACC Woman of the Year, but you're also the 2021 Pamela Davies Scholar Athlete of the Year here for the department. Honored on the SACC Commissioner's Honor Roll, of course, a 2021 Academic All-American, I should say. I know these are all accolades that come and they're kind of one after another, but what does this teach? What does this tell you about what you've done in your time here at Queens? And how much of that do you attribute to the professors and the classes you've taken here?
Oh, I mean, I definitely think that, well, for one, just receiving all those awards, they may be back to back, but it has made me realize that things don't go unnoticed.
Sure.
A lot of times it's easy for stuff to slip through the cracks, but not at Queens. I've definitely felt like everything that I've done has been well acknowledged. And especially with professors and engagement with everybody here. They were always super willing to work with you, especially with leaving with athletics and just being accommodating to everything that I needed. And without that extra support, I'm not sure that I'd be where I am today.
Well, talk about your playing career here. And, this year, second on the team, 2.34 kills a set, a 225 hitter in the middle. You also chipped in 41 blocks. I say chipped in. That's a lot of blocks to chip in. But, looking at your career, and this is the sport of volleyball, how has that helped you become a better student as well?
Oh, it's definitely, well, for one, definitely time management skills. And it sounds stupid, but it's funny because it's super busy. But I think just being surrounded by a team, constantly good teammates, especially here at Queens, we all had very similar motivations and very similar drives. And having those people that can help hold you accountable is definitely something that helps move you forward.
Sure. And I know you've dipped your toes into the coaching side of things as a part of the Lake Norman Volleyball Club. And, what has that taught you as well? And what have you learned from being a coach and trying to teach others the game? I know sometimes, you take that turn from a player to coach, and it is a little bit different because you're understanding the fact of you've taught yourself the game and you've learned the game, but how do you teach others?
Right. That's definitely a harder one. I learned a lot about just the game itself, but also what I have to give to other people and what they have to give back to me. I feel like I learned so much more about volleyball and trying to coach it just from the girls that I was involved with. It was definitely a different atmosphere.
You know, one of the biggest things about coming to Queens is I know, you know, it's always about how you help the community and how you, as a student athlete, interact with folks in the community. Can you talk a little bit about the community service stuff that you've done and how you think that that's helped shape your future here? Of course, going into the health sciences, you're about helping people, but you know, how has those kind of experiences here on campus helped you in that aspect?
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely think so. I was a part of Build for a Cause here at Queens for a few years, the 2 years before it got
Sure.
canceled by COVID. But just being able to help people and seeing what that means to other people is definitely a driving force. You don't really realize how much you can do until you get out there and do it, and you're not really able to see the impact until you're there. And being able to firsthand witness what you're able to do for other people it's not like anything that you can read or hear about. So.
Well, you know, you did a lot when you worked for Build for a Cause, as you helped rebuild homes with people affected by Hurricane Harvey down in Houston, and you even worked in Nashville with the homeless populations there. And now, you know, you've completed your career here at Queens and you're on to the next step. Looking ahead now at your future, you know, what is it you're most excited for about your future? Of course, the MCATs being over, I'm sure, is one of them. But at the same time, you know, what are your ultimate goals here as you now look ahead to the next step in your life?
You know, my ultimate goal is obviously right now to get into med school and go from there. But really, I think right now what I'm excited for, and it sounds kind of silly, is like this is the first time in my life that I really don't know where I'm going and what's going to happen. And it's kind of exciting to know that I can be here and shape that for myself. So
I love that. You know, it's sometimes that can be very scary, but if you could turn it into excitement, that means a lot of good things are on the horizon. And again, if you study life as you did in the books here at school, I'm sure you will have no issue with that moving forward. And speaking of moving forward, well, now you're on as the conference's nominee for the NCAA Woman of the Year Award. As NCAA member schools nominate 535 female student athletes for that award. And well, you are one of them, and you are one of the most recognized here in the country. So congratulations again. Of course, best of luck coming up on your MCATs. We'll, of course, be rooting for you, and we'll make sure we check back in to see how everything goes. But thanks so much for joining us. And again, congratulations on such an honor and such an unbelievable career here.
awesome. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right, that'll do it for another Inside the Lions Den right here on the YouTube page for the Queen Sports Network. For Logan Witt, I'm Mike Glennon. We hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, go Royals.